Welcome to Frido. So just begin to relax, and we're going to begin with a small meditation followed by the Journey of Frido poem. So just begin to relax yourself and get settled. And if you need to move or adjust yourself at any time, feel free. And I just invite you to close your eyes and begin to observe your body sensations, your breathing, and any thoughts that may or may not come into the mind. Just gently scan through your body from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Simply observing, noticing any feelings, any sensations that may arise in any one of your body organs or parts of your body. Notice if there's any tension or any relaxation. And as you continue to breathe, you can now expand your awareness out into the room or the space that you're in. Just noticing the temperature of the air on your skin and any sounds around. Just continuing to breathe comfortably as your awareness expands out into the town that you live in or your surrounding area. Just observing how that feels. As your attention expands further still out into the world, into the whole world. Noticing the atmosphere, the feelings in the world, with all its people, animals, plants, different races and religions, different age groups, physical abilities, different cultures. Just noticing and observing the world. Maybe your attention goes to one particular country or culture. Or perhaps nothing, just a feeling. And as you continue to breathe comfortably, expand your awareness now out into the universe. The infinite universe of ever-ending space. Just notice the atmosphere, the energy of the universe. And you can just float around for a while. You can float around the universe as long as you want. Notice how that feels. Maybe you'll go somewhere, or maybe you'll stay in one place. And when you're ready, in your own time, you can gently begin your journey back into the world, back into the town, back into your space, and finally returning back into your body. once again noticing your breathing, noticing any thoughts, and noticing any body sensations. And while you're in this particular state, I'm going to read out the Friedo Journey. It's a poem, The Journey of Friedo. Something stirs from deep inside. It twists and turns 1,000 times. It pulls and stretches into shape. A figure shows and moves around. A hand supports it from below until it feels and begins to grow. Building blocks are put in place until the figure is nice and safe. The figure starts to create its own, from light and darkness, vibrating tone. Birth and death begin to rise. The figure splits to compromise. The figure then creates some space. Now life and death begin their race, until the space has found a way to stabilize and have its say. Space creates a home for all. The separation of large and small, of water, fire, earth and air, weight and lightness, cold and brightness, pain and sorrow, love and joy. Out of this space comes girl and boy. The figure has journeyed through time and space, feeling as though it has won the race, looking around only to find a universe of an amazing kind. The training's been tough, it's been testing and rough. The figure is ready, it's complete and steady. Back to the source, the figure must run, for now the journey has just begun. Hey, welcome to Friedo. We're going to be working with this journey today, the positive energy, positive creation. So positive, in Friedo, positive energy is the energy we need for creating new things. And it's also connected to the love energy on here. So if you just relax and just close your eyes and just begin to settle yourself. And just notice your breathing. As I read the card. Positive creation. This is the positive part of the word you've chosen today to journey with. Positive is the creative energy we get when we're in love with something. When we connect and express this part of ourselves we love, we open our creativity beyond limits. There is positive in everything. Look for it, feel it, and sense it. For negative even to exist, there must be a positive. We may feel some resistance to this idea, or feel unable to see the magic in our situation. We feel positive when we're dreaming up new ideas and desires. We feel inspired, excited, and motivated. Dig deep and open your mind to find this energy, for it's part of creation. Positivity is like making love to everything, conceiving new life. So when you're ready, you can take your time. If you've got a pen and paper in hand, you can write your word that you've chosen for this journey at the top of the page. And the journey today is called Positive Creation. So what I want you to do is, first of all, choose some objects around your space. So one object is going to be an object that represents the word you've chosen today. So whatever word you've chosen, just choose an object to represent that. Then I want you to choose 2 objects to represent positive energy, and 1 object to represent negative energy. Okay, so you should have your objects with you now. And to begin with, you're going to hold one of the positive objects in your hand. Okay, just to connect to it. It's just there to connect you to the positive energy. And you can either just have it in your hand, or you can go into another space in the room as well. You can go into a space anywhere in the room, away from where you are now. Sometimes this can help. Or you can just do it with the object in your hand, as long as you can connect to the positive energy of yourself. And then I'm going to ask you some questions. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, who are you? And you're going to say positive, the positive aspect of myself. So I would be the positive part of Gary. So who are you? The positive part. And then I'm going to ask you some more questions. So what's your ability? What's important to you as the positive? And you're going to answer that. What's important to you from the positive aspect point of view? So don't allow anything to come out your mouth unless it's coming from the positive part of you. And the next question will be, what's positive? Why is that positive? So what's positive is the first question. And now, why is that positive? What you just said, why is that positive? And once you've answered that, we're going to move on to another object. So put that object down and pick your negative object up and hold that now. This will help you now connect to the negative part of yourself. So once you've kind of connected to that negative, so anything that comes out of your mouth should be from that negative viewpoint. So I'm going to ask you first of all, who are you? So you're going to answer negative, or the negative part. And now, what's negative about the positive? So have a think about what the positive said when you were in the positive part, and everything that was said, you're going to now look at what's negative about that and find something negative. And now I'm going to ask you, Why is that negative? What you just said, why is that negative? And then we're going to move on to the final question. And you're going to now put down the positive object, the negative object, and you're going to pick up your final positive object. So pick up your final positive object, the one you haven't used yet. Tune into that. And tune into that new positive energy. And again, I'll ask you the same questions. Who are you? So you're the positive. And what's positive about the negative? So have a think about what the negative said when you were in that negative energy. What was said. And then have a think about what's positive about all those negative. And dig deep. Connect to the positive energy only. And then finally, why? Why is that positive that what you just said? Why is it positive? Once you've done that, we can move on to the what we call the body activation. So in Frido, the body activation, it's about how do we get the positive energy into our body. And the best way to do that is through touch. It's very simple. That's how we connect. It's just like if you want power to come into your computer, you need to plug it in, physically plug it in to an energy source that the computer recognizes. So the way my body and your body can receive the best possible power is through a physical connection to another physical body, because they know each other. It's the best way of feeding another body. That's why when we feel sad and someone we love gives us a hug, it can feel so good. It can energize us and start making us feel better. It's not just psychological, but the energy is actually coming into our body and helping us to feel better. Because when we've got more energy, we're just naturally going to feel better. The body operates better. So it's a very simple touch exercise. So the first thing to do is with your object, which represents your word. So the first object you chose, which actually represents your word that you chose for today's journey. And what you can do is start to simply touch it. That's all. It might sound a bit strange, but you're just touching it. That's all. You're feeling it through the physical body. If you want to learn something through the mind, you would look at it and you would talk about it. You'd think about it. But if you want to connect to it through the body, the fastest way is to just touch it. And there's no need for thinking about it. It's just pure touch. And you can just begin to explore it in different ways of touching. You might stroke the object. You might tap the object, you might squeeze the object. Any way you want to touch it. And while you're touching it, you're connecting to its physical energy. Okay, now we've connected to it, we can also give ourselves some touch as well. So it's so simple. And what we're doing is we're helping to communicate with our word symbol. Even if it's like a negative word you've chosen today, it's really important to connect to it in order to understand it, in order to be able to handle it better. So it's just a touch exercise that you can spend as long or as little as you want. We don't go into too much detail why this works or how. That's more if you're interested in training to be a Frito guide. But for the purpose of the journey and its effect, we've just got to do this touch exercise, this body activation. And you don't have to follow me, you can touch wherever you want, and you can touch however you want. You can hug yourself as well if you like. Hug different parts of your body. So maybe spend 5 minutes on that. That's really, really nice. The longer you do it, the more you'll feel that energy coming in. Then finally, we're going to do the ritual. And what you're going to do is, we use different objects, but you can use your object you've chosen to represent your symbol, or you find another object. You might want to find something softer, like a t-shirt or something kind of soft. But any object's fine, as long as it's representing your symbol for you. And this is a beautiful ritual that you can do whenever you want. I'd recommend doing it daily, even if it's for a minute or two. And it's something you can do. It's really nice to do in bed at night, like when you're going to sleep. And you know, like where babies often and little tiny children normally have something like something to hug, something to play with, like a teddy bear or a fluffy thing or an old t-shirt. You know, they like these kind of things. It soothes them. It makes them feel kind of cozy and like connected. And that's exactly what it does, because it has a meaning for them. The meaning is something which is making them feel comfort. So we tend to lose that ability. We're told like that's just for babies, and you know, we don't do that as adults. But it's very, very powerful, and it can connect us to this positive energy. You know, if a baby does it, it's got to be good. And look how quickly a baby grows and learns. So that's a good thing. So choose your object, and again, we're going to stick to the same idea that we've been doing. Just touch the object like you did at the beginning. I showed you. So it's the same exercise, and you're just hugging the object. Hug it with you, bring it onto your body, you know, like you're hugging somebody. You're hugging your object, you're, you know, touching your object. So when you're in bed at night, you're going to sleep, you can just give your object a nice hug, have it with you. It can feel very, very soothing and calming, and it's also connecting you. It's always connecting you to this positive energy of your symbol. So whatever symbol you've created for the object, that's what you're hugging. Sometimes I'll hug something negative like fear, and it makes me feel better about fear, actually. It changes how I feel about fear, and it often gives me new realizations. So it's really beautiful. So often hugging even the negative things can actually create a lot of balance and create more positivity within that word. So once you've done that, spend a few minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever you fancy, until you can feel it a little bit. But you can practice that anyway, every day. And now we're going to pick a learning. So you're going to pick one learning from your journey today. So what can you take away with you from your journey today? Think about just one learning, one key learning. And once you've got that learning, write it down and make it small as possible. So no more than about 5 or 6 words. So try and summarize your learning, make it even smaller. Just capture the essence of the learning. And once you've done that, make it even smaller if you can, and turn it into an affirmation. And when I say affirmation, I mean, if you were to read it to me, it's like you've learned it already, you're doing it. So if I'm working with something like, for example, maybe I've learned something like, I've learned to be more tolerant to other people. Then if I can make that into an affirmation, I would say something like, I am tolerant. That's it. Keep it simple. 2 or 3 words, maximum, 4 words maximum, and turn it into an affirmation where you're doing it already. Your mind thinks it's actually got it, because you have. That's what you've learned. Therefore, you should be able to. Your brain should be able to tell me you can do it. Then the next practice is getting it into the body. So you need to go and find something you can prove, an action you can do that proves you've got that learning. So have a think about it. What one action can you go and do in your life that you can prove you've got that affirmation learning? And finally, once you've written that down, I want you to think of something you can do right now. So it could be a similar thing, the practice, the action you've just written, or it could be a new thing, something you can demonstrate right now in this moment. Just think of anything. It could be very simple, just that you know you've got it. Something very simple that you can act out, or you can do right now, that can show that you've got that learning affirmation. And that's it. We come to the end of another journey. If you're interested in joining these journeys in an online group environment, it's a donation only webinar. We do several. We do about 15 or 20 a month. So make sure you come on some of those. They're all different themes, and some of them you can choose your own theme as well every week. We have one where you do your own theme. We've also got beautiful retreats around the world, several every year. So we get kind of a holiday environment with the Frido, and I invite other practitioners along as well. And if you want to go deeper, if you've got something that you can't quite solve, then get in touch and we'll have a one-to-one session. So hope you enjoyed your journey today, and remember, keep living the dream.